Rob?
Hello everyone, welcome to Rob's Rogues and the BatmanUniverse.net. We're taking a look at something very cool here. It's the DC Comics New 52 Superheroes versus Villains, can't talk tonight, action figure 7-pack. This has been a set that a lot of people have been after, and also kind of, angry is probably the wrong word, disappointed in that the new figure in here is Catwoman. And it's a really, really good Catwoman sculpt all the way around. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but the only way to get this Catwoman is from buying this set. And most everybody has already bought all of these figures already. Now, granted, 3 of them have some brand new paint apps with them, and they look really cool. Actually, all of them have new paint apps with the exception of Aquaman. I think he's the only one to maintain his paint from the previous, and they may have even dulled it just a little bit. I'll have to do a comparison. Barry Allen, the Flash, has got the nice metallic look to the costume, which is really cool. So now I have all the metallic versions of the primary Justice League. The Joker is in a new paint scheme, and Captain Cold and Black Manta are in just a little bit of a darker hue from their original set. So I think I actually kind of like Captain Cold in this darker set. So a lot of these I'm probably going to mix into what I currently already had and pull the originals off of the shelf. They all do not have their original accessories if they came with them. I know Black Manta has all of his, with the exception, I believe, actually, I may be incorrect. It looks like Black Manta has all of his. The Joker, I believe, will have all of his gadgets he came with. Captain Cold, I believe, does not come with the ice mallet, if I remember correctly. I already do have that, so I can swap it in and out. But the big part is, of course, is Catwoman. And I have this Batman already. So, for the sake of the review, rather than look at each of these figures all over again that I reviewed, the only thing that I'm going to do is just do a side-by-side comparison of them, and if there's a notable difference between them, I'll point it out, but I'm not going to do all of the articulation. If you want to see those, I will put a link down here below to all of the individual figures that I've reviewed up to this point, and the one that's going to get the most attention is obviously Catwoman out of this set. So, now that we got that all the way, we'll look at the rest of the box here really quick, which is really going to be kind of hard to do. Let's see if I can do it off to the side here. It's really kind of hard here. The figures, Aquaman is sculpted by Jack Matthews. Captain Cold is James Shoup. Black Manta is sculpted by Jean St. John. Catwoman is sculpted by John Matthews. And the Joker is sculpted by Phil Ramirez. And they didn't list the Flash. Oh, excuse me. Aquaman, Batman, and the Flash are sculpted by Jack Matthews, as he originally did the original 7-pack. So sorry, I can't read right there. So there they are in the original 7-pack. And the read-up here says, the battle between good and evil rages on. Your favorite heroes and villains come together in one 7-pack based on the smash DC Comics New 52 hit, featuring Aquaman, the Flash, Batman, the Joker, Captain Cold, and Black Manta. So very, very cool. And then the other side panel art here just kind of shows the Catwoman. We'll raise the camera a little bit. There we go, as she is the primary one that needs the silhouette. And you can see the Joker here up to the front. You can kind of see the other tears in the box where when I first saw the box in a store, I thought, wow, they really tore the cardboard here. It's made to look like that. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get this out of package, and we'll take a look at all of them side by side from their original counterpart. Since I have 2 of these, we'll kind of see which is the better one and which is going to get the shelf space. This is one of my favorite Batmans out of my collection. I love the metallic tone that they put on Batman. So we'll be right back, and we'll take a look at the 7-pack Heroes versus Villains. All right, here's the 7-pack out of package. They look great together, obviously, as they did in the package. What I'd like to do right now is go through them kind of individually and we'll take a look at their original counterpart, and we'll see the difference in the paint apps. Again, like I said, I'm not going to go through all the articulation of all these figures. I've already reviewed it. If you want to see the articulation, you can go back through the channel and you can see the individual figure articulations and what have you. But before we do that, let's do a quick little fade into what the originals look like. All right, we're doing these in no particular order. If you could see the outsides just beyond here, I've got figures everywhere because I'm doing a bunch of comparisons. Neither here nor there. Here is Black Manta, and just at a first look, he's the one that is probably really close to his original paint scheme. I think they just touched up some things just a little bit. They didn't really do a dramatic overhaul. I just think the paint is a little bit more even on. This is the new one right here from the Heroes versus Villains, and this is my single-carded version. And again, if this is one of those things, if I knew that all these versions were going to come out, I would have waited. But I have, on my shelf, I had dropped. He fell off. This particular Black Manta has always had a problem with this knee. It's been okay, but it's really loose and it wants to bend, so I always have to have him on a stand. And as you could tell, I'm missing one of his swords or spears back here. He toppled off backwards off a shelf. The sound us action figure collectors hate to hear. So I have the sword, it's just behind, and I haven't decided to move that whole entire shelf yet. But if we take a look side by side, so that's how one way I can definitely tell. Like I said, the paints are just a little bit more even. I don't know if the light is picking it up, but this is just a touch more glossy. When I first had this Black Manta, I really wasn't paying attention to the boots. And now that I can see here, they did, it is a different color. It's more of a blue. His gloves are the same way. The dome on top of Black Manta is just a little bit more of a solid silver chrome. This one, I mean, is good, but you could just tell just slight differences in the paint apps on Black Manta. And he's the one out of the set that is probably the hardest to tell where the paint apps, the different paint apps are. It's very subtle, and I like that. So it'd be really easy to kind of mix these two up if I wasn't sure who was who without really taking a look. But this Black Manta from the Heroes versus Villains is actually going to be my primary Black Manta on my shelf, and this guy will be in a box in my room in case something ever happens to this guy. I've got a backup. So very cool. As far as Black Manta is concerned, not a huge difference in the two figures to warrant like, okay, should I pick it up? Should I not? If you were like trying to piece these out on eBay, you would be just as easy to pick up the single carded version rather than trying to find the Heroes versus Villains, because the paint apps are very slight on these two. Let's go to the next figure. Leonard Snart, aka Captain Cold. Captain Cold does have a different paint scheme. It's just a little darker all the way around. The gold is a little bit darker on the belt. The white, believe it or not, is just a little bit brighter. The lights are really kind of washing it out here a little bit. I apologize about that. The blues are definitely the biggest change on the figure in the bodysuit. This Captain Cold does not come with the ice ball or the icicle like spear here. This one is very easy to tell. The masks, for the most part, I believe are identical. I don't think they did the eyes at all, the actual mask. The inside of the mask is a darker blue, but as far as the mask itself, even the ice crystals on the side are a little bit brighter, as I have it off frame here. Even the ice crystals are a little bit brighter. Which version is going to go on the shelf? Again, I'm going to go with the Heroes versus Villains. I like the original Captain Cold, the nice light blue, but the darker blue Just a little bit. I think I've said before, sometimes a little bit of a paint change on a figure can really make the figure pop or just give that little extra something special to the figure. The hand is removable on the Heroes versus Villains. So I do have the ice spike ball for the original Captain Cold. So that's really cool that you can interchange that together. Now, by the time Forever Evil had started, Captain Cold loses his metahuman freezing ability and has to go back to a gun. So I was half wondering when this was announced if they were going to give him a normal arm here, as he didn't have the metahuman powers after a while, after he lost the freezing capability. And then for a short time, he was a member of the Justice League with Lex Luthor. So that's pretty cool. So this is another one of those. Which of these two am I going to put on my shelf? It's actually going to be the Heroes versus Villains. Let's get this out of here. And he does hold his original icicle. So yeah, another one. So this is another one of those figures, like, because of the paint apps and the paint change, is it warranted? It's really pretty close between the two, but again, glad to have them, and I'm going to go with the original, with the Heroes versus Villains Captain Cold on this one. Let's go to the next Joker. This was an interesting choice for them to put in the Heroes versus Villains. I think it was just another way to get a different version of the Joker, and this is an actual comic version of the Joker. You do see him on the front cover of Death of the Family wearing the orange jumpsuit. And I believe that there might have been one other panel in the book, but I believe this is more of a front cover shot of it. They could have done another villain in the line, as the Joker really didn't appear in Forever Evil at all. Actually, not really. He didn't appear in it at all, as they said this is where the figures were kind of based out of. So I think it was just another way to give people a different Joker to have. Other than Black Manta, the Joker is the only other, and Aquaman, are the only three to come with their original accessories. Captain Cold didn't come with the spike or the icicle, and that's really about it, as Batman and the Flash really didn't have other accessories, so I would have at least thought they would have given the icicle to Captain Cold, but neither here nor there. I'll show you right here the other pieces that you get from the Joker. They have different little accessories here. There's the knife. The knife is here on this Joker. The hammer for the orange Joker is here, and the red wrench. So the only thing that they changed in color is the pliers. On the original Joker, they're green, and on the new Joker, they're blue. So I'll just put these in really quick. The knife. Now that's a knife. Joker in the Rogues review room with the wrench. And there's the Joker. So this is one I was like, that's okay. If I wanted to do the recreation of the Greg Capullo shot, I could, now that I have a correct colored version of the Joker. As you can tell, everything on this Joker is flipped in color, with the exception of the face, obviously. The boots, these are a matte, kind of a gray-black. We have a glossy. The socks are switched. We have orange on the blue, and then we have blue on the orange. Of course, the jumpsuits are switched. The wrenches are really the only other accessory that are switched in color. Excuse me, the wrenches, the pliers. Everything else has stayed the same. The face detail, let's get it in tight here, is very much the same. They didn't do anything really. Now, the face is whiter on this one, I guess I should say. And if the camera could pick it up, this one's a little bit dirtier and a little bit crustier, a little bit more decayed. So you have a couple different versions of the Joker. slowly in his decaying state, which I think is kind of cool, because he does start out in the orange and goes into the blue suit there. So not much difference. Well, I should say not much. There's a lot of difference on the Joker. So he's the first one out of the set to really have a complete alternate paint scheme. As we're looking at the Joker's crotch here, I apologize. So that's pretty cool that they at least went with the route of we're going to put him in comic accurate colors, even if it was just for the front cover and maybe a panel or two, I believe, inside of Death of the Family. But this is one that I was like, I don't mind having this one. Depending on how I feel in my display, I can switch things around. Now, the blue jumpsuit is more akin to his purple outfit he would normally wear, but this is a good alternate to have from time to time. And if I want to have a Joker in a different scene setting up in my room, I now have a second Joker to be able to play with. So let's take a look at now the Heroes side of the board. Night and day with these two. The Batman figure and then the Trinity Superman figure. These are figures that I know I've said myself, and Stu Murray 47 has said about Superman. The metallic paint job on some of these figures really, really make it pop. And the Flash, hands down, this is the Heroes versus Villains Flash is going to be the Flash that is going to set on my shelf. It looks so very cool. I wish they would have done this right from the get-go, and that all these figures are in different sets. Again, if I wasn't able to get this for the price that I did, I probably would have tried to go onto eBay to pick up the Flash, but man, it really makes the Flash figure pop. And you can see in my red background, the original Flash kind of gets lost into my red background, but the nice metallic reds and yellows and whites and golds really just make the Heroes versus Villains Flash pop. And they also did a new skin tone on the Flash as well. Kind of gave it a little bit more life. This looks like it's, in kind of its mold state. It's not fully painted yet. But just the vast difference of the two is just night and day. It really, really makes the figure shine, literally shine. And the other thing is putting all of the gold electricity in through the suit really just adds that extra touch to the Flash's suit. The original Flash did have those panel lines in there, which I think technically when he's not running, this is how he is supposed to look without the gold in there. But with the gold, it just really makes the figure shine. And just the choices of paint. I'm just marveling at this Flash. Again, makes the original just pale in comparison. And all the tiny little detail in the gold. I don't have any like overpaint or like where the brush has come off into the red. Just a fantastic looking figure. So of course, the one that I'm going to be displaying is, boy, I'm really all about shooting their crotches today, is going to be the Heroes versus Villains Flash, without a doubt. Let's go on to the next figure. And here is Aquaman, the King of Atlantis, Arthur Curry. The real big difference between the two, from everything that I can tell so far, is the paint is exactly the same on the two figures. So it's basically the head swap, the necklace, the trident, and the gold chain. The gold chain is no longer there, and they've filled in the spot where the chain fits in at the belt, and they've opted out for the shorter Ivan Rice looking version of Aquaman. I did like the Jim Lee head sculpt. Some people didn't like the necklace around his neck, and it looked a little funny. The chain was problematic for some people, that just kind of got in the way. I went as far as to get little hoop clips from Hobby Lobby that I could unclip the trident from the chain, which it looked kind of cool in the drawing, but is a total unrealistic way that you would want to have the trident. As cool as it might have been to have in the comics, he can't throw it, or he's going to throw himself. Somebody could grab the trident and then whip him all around since it's chained to him. So it's really kind of not very practical. And as in the comics, it kind of the trident magnetizes to the back of his costume, which I think I said in his initial review, I wish there was a clip back here, because in the box for both of these guys in their 7-packs, which ironically, this is not a single carded figure either time for me, in the box it was setting like this, which would have been really pretty cool had there been some type of clip in the back for the trident. The trident is very different. This is right out of the Throne of Atlantis, where a new trident that he was after, to kind of reclaim the Throne of Atlantis and the ones that was waging the war for Throne of Atlantis. So this is a very plain trident. Not much to it all. It's just a straight, bland piece. The only other etching is down here on the bottom. The head sculpts on the two, that's kind of dealer's choice at this point of which head sculpt you like. I mean, there's a lot of detail in the hair and shading in the Jim Lee version from the Justice League 7-pack. The Heroes vs. Villain is just a standard, plain Aquaman head. Not much going on here. It's not a horrible Aquaman sculpt at all. And it is the exact same face. So they went in and basically just changed the hair and kind of the mutton chops and a little bit of the 5 o'clock shadow, and maybe retweaked a few things here there with some paint. Which one am I going to use on my shelf? This is the real toss-up for me. I really like both of them equally, but the problem, like for me and some other people in posing Aquaman, is the chain. The chain kind of gets in the way. Now, granted, I've got mine set up another crotch shot. I'm doing that constantly. I'm constantly having to get the chain out of the way, and with mine I do have the ability to take the chain off. The trident looks a little funny. Now I could remove the chain, take off the trident, and switch tridents out, but that's a nice thing about kind of having two slightly different figures. Depending on how I want to set my figures up, I can kind of change how I want to do that. So for the time being, I think just because the Heroes vs. Villains is a new figure, I'm going to go with the Heroes vs. Villains for the time being. And here is Batman. Now, I've reviewed both of these figures almost ad nauseum on the channel. Truth be told, this is actually the Trinity Batman, which is basically the same. I can only really tell is because of the legs. These are kind of squeezed in a little bit in the package. The Heroes vs. Villains, I already currently have this. I bought him loose on eBay. So here is the one that I currently had before the set. So right now, I have every single version of Batman from the New 52 line that has ever been made in every single package. I have the single-carded Batman. I have the Justice League Batman. I have the Trinity Batman. I have the Heroes vs. Villains, and I've got 2 of the Heroes vs. Villains. So now officially I have everything beforehand. I did. Which of the 3 is going to be standing on my shelf? I've got plenty of mileage with Batman. I really liked having, this chrome version of Batman, the metallic version, with my Bat family. And if I'm doing a Justice League setup on another shelf, I've been using the standard New 52 Batman. I really like this one a lot, so I may negate this Batman almost completely off of my shelf and use the other chrome metallic suit. I really, really like that. And I've got like a Trinity shot of the other, the standard with standard Batman, standard Wonder Woman, and standard Superman sitting off to the side. Just doing a little bit of comparison between the two that I have. The one that I got off eBay, I think, is an even paint tone. I don't know if the camera can pick up just some of the little bit of imperfections in the suits here. This one looks more even. This one kind of looks a little dirty and dingy. The cape on this one's a little bit more glossy, so I kind of wish I had the glossier cape here. This cape became a little bent in package. So you can see the one of the little fins back here. Scallops is turned up. The cape was kind of creased in the package here. So that's how I could tell this was the one that came out of the Heroes versus Villains. Both look really, really good. Again, it's just due to packaging, but you can kind of tell the one that I bought as a 7-pack is a little bit more glossier. This one's a little bit more muted, not too bad, but the figures overall look really good. So again, having sometimes multiple figures isn't a total bad thing. So which one am I going to use on my shelves? It's actually going to be both of them. I'm going to have them in 2 different spots. And actually in my room, I think I have 3 or 4 different Batmans just standing with different groups of characters. Okay, now that we've waited this long, let's get to the final figure. The main reason why I really wanted this set is Catwoman. Finally able to pick this figure up. I know some people have gotten her for a really good deal at some conventions, loose, but generally on eBay, she's running anywhere between $30 to $50. I've seen her high as $60 before, because she's going to be a sought-after figure, and this is the only way you can get her out of the set. So, yeah, that does kind of annoy me a little bit that they'll do that. They'll put different little paint versions to kind of entice you to buy the whole entire set. I would not have wanted to spend the $99, $100, probably $103 or $104 with tax to just get the one figure. But when I was able to get it around for $60, that broke it out to about $10 a figure, which is cheaper than buying a single carded figure. So at that point, I'm like, I was perfectly fine with it. This is one of the best Catwomans that I own now. The Arkham Knight Catwoman, right up to this point, I would say was really close to being my favorite and one of the best ones. The face sculpt on this Catwoman is nice, as she... sometimes the women figures, it's one of those that they just don't get the female face right, and she looks female in this, which is very, very nice. She doesn't look Asian, she doesn't look Chinese, she doesn't look Indian. In some of the ones that I've had, the bodysuit looks really good, especially in other areas, but we won't talk about that. The boots look really good, the straps. This is probably right on par with her Arkham Knight outfit, her Arkham City outfit. So she's stayed pretty much traditional in the New 52 and the old continuity. It'll be interesting to see what they do with her in Rebirth, but just a classic look for Wonder Woman. Just the buckle right here on the zipper. The collar looks really good. The gloves look good. She comes with one accessory, is her whip. And I like that it comes out, so I could put in like the Arkham City whip or the Arkham Knight whip that she came with. So if I wanted a little bit of a longer whip here. Just a really, really nice figure. And one that I'm finally glad to be able to say I have now completed the entire Bat family of the New 52 figures. Very cool. So let's look at the articulation of this figure. As like I said, we're not going to do the other ones. The head does look left to right. It's on a ball and like a ball socket. So she can't look down really well. Up a little bit, no rotation. It's more, what I really like about this figure too, this is in line with the first set of articulation from the DC Universe Classics line. So she was made during a time of more of the new articulation. I'm glad that they went back to her old articulation. The arms on a ball and socket here. They go up almost to a 90 degree. They do go all the way around. Also, no clear pegs or joints on this figure. There's a bicep swivel, single bend at the elbow, a rotation in the glove, no waist swivel or ab crunch. Legs go up about that far. And I'll talk about the hips here in just a second. Single bend at the knee, and a rotation at the boot, and none at the ankle. Now, the reason her legs only go up, one goes up higher than the other here, is I like that they gave her a little bit of body movement here in the fact that she's got her hip cocked just a little bit. So you can really kind of tell from there. She's got a little bit of an attitude when she stands, and I really kind of like that. So now that I have her to be able to complete the Bat family of characters, even though she kind of rides the line between hero and villain, let's take a look at her with the rest of the Bat family. All right, here is the new 52 Bat family. Even though technically Damian up front is from the Batman Incorporated line, he is in the correct scale, and he's made in the same manner as the rest of these figures are. So we did not get a Damian in the new 52 line, so technically they never made one. But if you have this guy, he works perfect, so I'm calling it. And I've also put up here the Huntress Helena Wayne from Earth 2. Even though she hasn't interacted with this family a lot, it's still cool to have a Huntress up here. Rebirth is getting a proper Huntress and Helena Bertinelli. I've seen some people use this Huntress as a Stephanie Brown spoiler costumes. So I would like to get the Power Girl for the line, and I've thought about just getting... also purchasing that as the 2-pack, have a second Huntress, and then do a custom so I can have a new 52 spoiler, which would be really pretty cool. So it's great to finally have the whole Bat family together, all the Bat family that they made, and then to be able to pose them here like this. This has been really pretty cool, and finally I can say, I'm done. And here is Catwoman with Justice League America, the JLA. The only one that I'm missing now is Simon Baz, and I'll eventually end up picking him up. Even though the Justice League America team got morphed into the Justice League United team, I have Stargirl and Supergirl, so I could kind of do an amalgamation of a team there. I always thought that a Catwoman was a little odd choice to have in the Justice League America team. And it only went 6 issues until we got into the Trinity War, and that's where a big, shakeup happened. But as far as a team building in the early part of the new 52, I'm just one figure away from completing this team. All right, here's the Metallic Justice League. Some parts or a lot of parts on all of these figures have metallic paint schemes somewhere. Shazam's got it in all of his gold. Supergirl has it in her little red trunks and her boots there, the metallic and the S. You can see where the Green Lanterns are. The Earth 2 Wonder Woman has some metallic, as does the original Wonder Woman as well. So if you have that one, she has some metallics in her boots and her underoos, as it were. So if you want to use either one. Of course, Superman, his whole suit is metallic. Aquaman, his upper shirt, of course, the whole Flash, Green Arrow's gauntlets and boots, and Bo are metallic, and Hawkman's, all of his gold is in the metallic family, as it were. So it's cool that they did some figures like this. And I think Superboy is also metallic. He's downstairs. I have almost all of my new 52 figures up here on this table. If you could see how crowded this is for doing all these different group shots because of the Heroes versus Villains set. But yeah, here's the Metallic Justice League. All right, final thoughts on the Heroes versus Villains 7-pack. Like I've said, all of the figures, with the exception of Catwoman, have all been released before. But all of them, with the exception of Catwoman, have had retweaking or repainting or resculpting done to them. The big noticeable changes are the Flash and Batman as far as an overall paint rehaul. You could argue that Captain Cold has had a paint overhaul, rehaul as well, but it's not as drastic as Batman and the Flash are. The Flash and Batman are two of my favorites from the set. The Flash I really, really wanted, and also with Batman as well. Now, like I've said before, I had already bought Batman separately off eBay, so this is a second one to add to my collection. I think I'm actually going to send this one off to a friend of mine so he can add it to his collection. The one that's probably had the least amount of repainting or retweaking done are probably Aquaman. Well, actually, more importantly, Black Manta. Aquaman does have a new trident. The belt has been filled in where the little screw was, and then the new head for Aquaman, and then missing the necklace. Those are the biggest changes. The biggest draw for a lot of people of this set was the Catwoman figure. Unfortunately, this is the only way to pick her up. I think she's a really, really good figure. I really wish she was single-carded. Although I understand at some point if somebody didn't go out there and buy all of these other figures, that they were like, oh, well, I didn't buy any of them, and Catwoman's exclusive to here, so now I can buy all these. I was really fortunate to get them very cheaply, about 60 some bucks, give or take 4 or 5. I can't remember exactly what the price was. But I didn't pay the $100 for it. I've seen it somewhere go around 80 bucks, and that was still a pretty penny. Catwoman, it just depends on the day on eBay what price you're going to find her for. I've seen some people say, hey, I got her at a toy fair for 13 bucks. And I've heard other people say they paid 60 bucks for her. I'm happy with all of these. All of these figures are going to be standing in place of the current other figures, probably with the exception of the Joker. I think I'm probably going to use the blue jumpsuited version over the orange jumpsuited version just because the Aquaman's going to stand in now for the original New 52, obviously the Flash. This one, like I said, I already currently have on my shelf, so I have my other normal New 52 Batman standing in various different places, as I have 3 of those. And Black Manta, just because that one of these swords fell behind my display case, so I have to get that out. So just because now he has the 2 swords, that's where it's going to go. So it's a lot of rambling, a lot to go through this video. I really apologize, but hopefully you stuck through to the very end, and you would think that, hey, it's going to be a short video. There's not going to be a whole lot I'm going to have to show, but there were, 6 other figures to kind of go through. So today we'll be taking a look at the Heroes versus Villains New 52 line of action figures from DC Collectibles. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues and the BatmanUniverse.net, signing off saying we will see you guys next time.